Hey everyone, this is Kevin from thechesswebsite.com. Today we're going to be concluding our coverage of the 2015 Zurich Chess Challenge. It's been a pretty awesome tournament so far. 10 rounds of awesome chess with the top players in the world. We have 5 rounds of classical. Vishy Anand actually won that portion by a slim margin over Nakamura by 1 point. And then in the rapid portion, while neither player did win, Nakamura did edge out Vishy Anand by 1 point. So we actually have a tie, and the Zurich Chess Challenge has a pretty interesting tiebreaker. It's the Armageddon format. If you're not too familiar with that, it's a blitz style format, and there has to be a winner. And if black ties, then black is actually deemed the winner. So because black has a slight advantage there, white actually gets more time. So Vishy Anand's actually going to be playing the white pieces. He's going to be given 5 minutes on board, which is still not a lot of time. And black, played by Nakamura, is going to get 4 minutes. So he has a minute disadvantage. But again, if he draws, he's going to win. So not still sure how I feel about crowning the champion based on the Armageddon format. But it is very, very interesting to see such a prestigious event being won on a blitz-style game at the very end on a tiebreaker. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Definitely an exciting game. Vishy Anand starts out, no surprise to anyone, with pawn here to d4, pawn d5, pawn c4, queen's gambit decline line opted for Nakamura. And they actually played this exact same format earlier in the tournament in the classical series, where Vishy Anand actually won by a slight margin. Knight c3, bishop here to e7, knight f3, knight f6, bishop here to f4. Vishy Anand lately has just really been a fan of getting the dark square bishop out before he plays the pawn here to e3. Castle, pawn here to e3, knight d7, pawn up here to c5, and then knight to h5. Kind of going through these moves a little quickly because, again, this is move for move verbatim how they did earlier. So you can kind of watch that. We did some coverage of that game earlier in the week. From here, Vishy Anand opted for a little bit more aggressive approach. Before he played bishop here to d3. Instead, in this particular game, decided to first play bishop here to e5, and then after pawn here to c6, he's going for broke here. He's playing pawn here to g4, trying to push through on the king side. Nakamura has a little bit easier side on the queen side to break through, so he's going for broke on the king side, recognizing that, hey, I won the game before where I played this setup, where I played bishop here to d3, but let's try to complicate things because, again, he only has 5 minutes and he has to win or he is the loser. So going for broke here with pawn here to g4. Nakamura just playing a little safe. Knight back here to f6. Rook here to g1, getting ready to just kind of support this pawn as it pushes forward. Knight taking here on e5, trying to relieve some of the pressure in the center of the board after the recapture. Knight up here to d7. Nakamura's okay exchanging pieces off the board. Again, if he ties, he wins. So this is all good for Nakamura. Pawn up here to f4. So Nakamura just letting Vishy Anand throw everything at him on the king side, and now deciding to counterattack on the queen side. Recognizing he doesn't want to try to do anything crazy on the king side. Vishy Anand's kind of owning this, so he wants to start chipping away, and the fastest way is starting with pawn here to b6. Now pawn up here to b4, pawn down here to a5. It would have been interesting also if he would have played, let's say, pawn here to e5, completely breaking up the center of the board. Now that Vishy Anand's kind of played this pawn here to f4, his king is going to be exposed the rest of the game. So if we had, pawn to e5, let's say black plays bishop here to g5, threatening this pawn, it's going to be very difficult for Vishy Anand to really play defense with such limited time. Now, if we're in a classical game, he could definitely find the right way to defend this, but this would be very, very difficult for him. The other bishop could get involved into the game. This queen could get involved, so that would be very, very difficult. But typically what you see in these blitz-style formats is one side kind of has a plan, and they kind of stick with that plan. And right now, Nakamura's plan is attack the queen side, and so that's what he continues to do with pawn here to a5. Vishy plays pawn to a3, supporting after the capture here. The queen's going to come up here to b8, just getting a little bit more involved into the action, also attacking the square here on f4. Pawn up here to g5. So Vishy trying to extend a little bit on the king side. I'm not really sure how he's going to break through on Nakamura's king side. He's actually pretty well defended here with all his pawns in front. His minor pieces adding a little bit of protection. So not really sure kind of the plan that he has, but he can't really do too much on the queen side. Nakamura kind of has that on lockdown. Decides to kind of open it up a little bit more, and now he brings his queen down here to b4. If he thought a little bit longer, which I recognize, he does not have a lot of time here. Queen to b2 is just, it's better. It's attacking kind of the same squares. It's for one, attacking this rook here on a1, kind of forcing the rook to do something. Either the rook hangs, this knight hangs, or this pawn here on h2 hangs. Now, that may just be too much complication that Nakamura doesn't want to have to deal with. So instead, he just decides, the queen here to b4, pinning down this knight. Now the rook comes over here to c1. Vishy Anand just forced to play defense right now, which is exactly what Nakamura wants. Again, all he has to do is get a draw. That's kind of what he's going for, or a win would be great as well. Rook down here to a3, queen up here to d2, playing defense. Bishop here to d8. Nakamura has the bishop pair, but he's not doing too much, so decides that he wants to go ahead and get his bishop involved into the game. After the knight back here to d2, Nakamura is completely okay exchanging queens off the board. Now the bishop can get involved into the game. This bishop here on f1 isn't doing too much. This rook here on g1 is not doing too much. And this knight, it's almost like it hasn't been developed at all in the game. So Vishy Anand definitely has some work to do. King over here to e2. Rook over here to b8, getting ready to get involved into the action. King up here to f3. Not real clear where Vishy Anand should really go from here. But pawn to e5 really just breaks open the game for Nakamura. He can now get his light square bishop involved into the action. After the pawn takes, we now see the bishop here to f5. So, Nakamura is now controlling the center of the board with both of his bishops. He has control with his d5 pawn of these central squares here on c4 and e4. He can now easily get his other rook involved into the game. So it's going to be very difficult for Vishy Anand to do too much. The next move from him, I thought was a little strange. Again, there's not tons of great moves, but I think even at lower level chess, he could see that after his rook here to g2, the bishop here to e4 on this nice little outpost from the pawn is going to force the king to move, and he's going to lose this rook. After the bishop recaptures, rook down here to a2, attacking the bishop. After the bishop moves, bishop down here to d2, and this rook on c1 is lost. There's no way that he can move and not lose that rook. So Vishy Anand decides to go ahead, pack it in, and shake the hand of Nakamura. Nakamura, congratulations to him. He was kind of my pick to win from the beginning after he won round one. He just looked really good. He actually won the tournament he just played in, Gibraltar, so he is playing phenomenal chess, winning back-to-back tournaments against some of the strongest competition in the world. So hopefully he continues his run. We've needed a chess champion to just dominate tournaments for a while, an American to do that. So awesome to see that. Congrats to all the other competitors, played some great chess. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. Try to be doing a lot more coverage of tournaments throughout the year. But hopefully you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.